All right, all right, all right. Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. We'll give it a few minutes for some people to roll in, but it's good to see you again here on this edition of STATURDAY Chat Live, October 9th. My favorite color is October, so it's good to finally be in the fall here in the Midwest United States. Everything is looking gorgeous, beautiful. So happy. It's my favorite time of year. So looking forward to being outside. What else we got going on here? First things first. Number one, just a reminder, I will be obviously looking at the chat, but I cannot necessarily get to every single comment or question, so don't take it personally if you ask or comment or something like that and I don't get to it. So some people get upset when I can't get to everything, and it's just the nature of time and the reality of everything and so on and so forth. Number two is that I'm not like human Wikipedia. So if you ask a question and I don't necessarily have the answer, I can jot it down on my little tablet here, my little piece of paper, and maybe come back to it and answer it later. But I do my best to answer whatever questions I can, and we'll go from there. Also, if you're on YouTube, I do accept little super chats. So if you have a couple dollars, buy me a cup of coffee or help with the captions on the channel, that would be great. Excuse me. So I do have everything captioned, and that costs a few dollars. It costs $1.25 a minute to do that, but it makes the videos accessible to other learners across the world. So if you're on YouTube and have a couple bucks to put in a super chat, of course I appreciate it. That's what I use it for in the channel. All right, what else we got going on? I'm working on the next set of videos. So I think I'm going to make some videos on variable transformations and how the assumptions of normality can be violated, especially in regression contexts, and how we can do some transformations on our variables to pull them in line with those assumptions, and learn a bit more about variable transformations in general. So it's something that can sometimes be neglected, but it's a very relatively simple concept, and we will maybe do a few videos on variable transformations, and I have like so many other topics that I want to get to. So I am working on the next set of videos. Who we got in the stream? Glenn, what's up, buddy? Hope you are doing very, very well. Hamza, hello. It's very good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. What else we got in here? Venkatesh, hello, hello. It's good to see you. What else we got up in here? Starting up today. First time the live stream. Thank you. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it. It's good to have a first time thing here. First time viewer here. Sorry, I didn't mean to put the word thing in there. All right. There you are. Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Videos on time series, that is one of the topics I wanted to get to, as I've mentioned in other contexts, just a matter of time. But I'm intrinsically interested in time series, and of course there's a relationship to regression in time series, so that is something I definitely want to do. Hello, Anchor. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Justin, hello, hello, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, Glenn, always a positive day when I have stat problems and coffee. If you say so. But I have some coffee too. So let's all raise our cups of coffee, or wherever we are in the world. I'm sure some people are at nighttime, but this is my coffee. So cheers. You want to apologize? It is a beautiful, beautiful fall day here in my neighborhood, which means everyone is simultaneously mowing their lawn. So if you happen to hear lawnmowers or noises, I do apologize. It's just the nature of the time of year we are and the weather, which is absolutely gorgeous. Love your material. Thank you, starting up guy. Thank you, thank you. Federated learning. I'm going to write some of these down. All right, well, we'll see. That way of explaining is excellent. You are doing a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. Love your videos on stats. Trust me, as I've always say, whatever I am to you in terms of being a helpful inspiration, you all inspire me more than you could ever know. It's what keeps me going, what keeps me happy and passionate about what I do every day. And I want to thank you all for coming to the channel, spending your valuable time with me and stuff like that. You all inspire me. So let's just continue inspiring each other. All right, what else we got going on? So other things, obviously I'm working on some new videos, some new topics, kind of getting the it's a kind of a process. I kind of get the data together and formulate how I want to do the video, kind of a rough storyboard and stuff like that. That's kind of where I am on those right now. But I am building out the slides and how I want to present the material. So just a work in progress. It is, it just takes time, as you can imagine. So I will get to it. There's some other opportunities maybe coming along the pike that haven't really fully developed yet, but if they do, I will definitely let everyone know what those might be. So still in planning stages, but I will update you as those things might happen. So, all right, what do we got here? Glenn, I got your message on LinkedIn, and I'm going to take a look at that the best I can. I can't promise, spending a whole lot of time on it because I'm stretched thin as it is, but I will take a look and kind of see, or at least point you in a direction where you can find something that's a bit more, understandable in how you might interpret that problem you sent me. So I'll do my best to look at it, and whatever I can offer, I will. And if I don't have a whole lot of time, I will definitely point you in a direction where you can get some of that help. So appreciate it. And I'll stop by here and say you're best text teacher I've ever had. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You're one of the best students I ever had. So, deal. But I appreciate your very kind words. Let's see here. Caught you say you're doing transformation assumption check. When will these come out? I'm only understanding my class right now because of you. So I'm hoping to have the first video on variable, basic video on variable transformations in a week or two. Now that I have the idea how I want to do it, now it's just a matter of finding the time to implement everything. But the hard part's kind of over, actually. Putting it onto the slides and, stuff like that is actually the easier part. It's coming up with how I want to do it is the hard part. So I'm hoping to have some time this week to set out on my deck or in the park or somewhere else and work on it for you all. So hopefully a week or two. But now that I know that people are kind of looking out for stuff like that, I might, try to speed it up the best I can. So for those of you all who do not know, the first time here, YouTube is not my full-time job at all. It cannot be my full-time job. I have a 9-to-5 job, and then I have 2 side gigs, and then which one of those is YouTube? Excuse me, and YouTube's kind of number 3 on that list because of just the time it takes and having to make a living and stuff like that. So I do the best I can, with the time I have. But I want to get back to making some videos and help you all. So sorry about my hiccups. I'm not sure why I have hiccups this morning. All right. And other news. So if you caught the stream last week, 2 weeks ago, the channel officially crossed 250,000 subscribers. So 250,000 subscribers. It's already over 251 now. So as part of the celebration of that, I really don't want to make it about me. I want to make it about you all. So I'm still planning some sort of live stream or pre-recorded sort of video, kind of like this, where I bring on viewers that are comfortable sort of being, on camera and stuff like that to talk about maybe a success you've had over the past few years. Maybe it's career related, maybe it's school related, could be even, personal related or whatever. But I want to celebrate your success as a celebration of the channel's milestone. The channel has never been about me. It will never be about me. I'm not into cults of personality or anything like that. So I want to make this big milestone a celebration of you all. So I'm still planning on what that might look like and, trying to schedule it with individuals who might want to come on and talk about a success they had, a class they passed or a degree that they've always dreamed of getting or a dream job they got, or maybe it's a struggle that you persevered through and overcame. So I envision that sort of live stream or session being something where you can inspire other people through whatever success you had, and my channel was just a path on that journey for you. So, so still planning on that. I will let you know how all that sort of pans out as far as scheduling it up. Exam coming up this week. Wish I could have those notes before your video is released. I don't even have the PowerPoints even sketched out yet. So there isn't really anything to provide you know. So yeah, Glenn, absolutely. So the StatQuest, to Josh's StatQuest channel, has a video on entropy, which is excellent, of course. I was actually going to direct you to that, but I'm glad you found it first. So yeah, look at that, and then we can go back and forth. So, all right. Da-da-da-da. Professor doesn't explain well or give any practice. Sometimes that happens. You know, having taught in higher education and been sort of in the trenches in higher education and been on different committees in higher education and stuff like that, teaching isn't always a professor's first priority because the institutions don't prioritize teaching. Not all of them do. If you teach at a big institution, a research one institution, then your primary focus is your scholarship, writing papers and your service and stuff like that. The teaching sometimes falls below. So while I'm not excusing any professors, this one or anything else, I am very aware that the teaching aspect of being a professor is sometimes not as emphasized by institutions. Therefore, it's something professors don't always focus on. And on top of that, many professors have never had any training in teaching. So it's very common for like a graduate student who's doing an assistantship to go teach a class in higher education, but never have any teaching background at all. And they get like 1 or 2 days, maybe if that, of some basic classroom teacher training, and that's all they have to go on, besides their own experience as a student, of course. So sometimes it's just professors they're just kind of phoning it in, but oftentimes they have competing interests on their time. And especially if they're not tenured, if they're on a tenure track, then they really have to focus on what they will be evaluated on to garner tenure. And maybe that's not the perfect system, but that's a lot of the systems we have, unfortunately. All right. What else we got going on? Do I have a Discord channel we could join? I do not. I think that's probably a bit too much for what I do. And really, I wouldn't have time to really do it or manage it. And, I'm not all that interesting outside of this. So, all right. You are welcome. Welcome. Okay. Which is, the ROC curve and best thresholds is tricky. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but we have ROC curve. Congrats on crossing the milestone. Thank you, Venkatesh. None of that's possible without people like you. So, I appreciate the thank you and the milestone. So on to the next milestone. I don't do YouTube for the glory of the milestones or anything like that, but I do work hard at it, and I want to celebrate my work and your work. And I'm very happy that it took nine years. It took 9 years to get 250,000 subscribers, but it's worth the trip, So I'm very happy. All right. Oh, what else we got going on? If I missed anything in the chat, I'm going to scroll up here to make sure I have gotten everything as far as answering questions you might have. So yeah, I'm still toying with the idea of making like a Udemy course or something like that. Again, the limiting factor is time. I do know what I would do if I were to do that, but it's really hard. Sometimes it's easier to do stuff like that in the winter, when I can't get outside as much and there's not as much yard work and stuff like that outside to worry about. And sometimes the winter is a little bit better time for me to just pack up my stuff, head up to Starbucks or wherever else, spread my stuff out on the table, and just do a few hours of hammering out videos. Sometimes it's a bit easier in the winter to do that. All right. Post your comments, questions in chat. I will do my best to get to them. And so on and so forth. So I have had a couple of entities reach out to me in ways that might be able to partner with, which of course would benefit you all. So I'm still exploring those and seeing if they make sense for everyone involved. And we'll just see how that goes. Also know that a lot of you are out there on the job market searching for positions. Depending on where you are in the world, it's a very favorable environment for job seekers. Of course, employers don't always do the best job at recruiting and making good job descriptions and stuff like that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But if you are out there looking for a position right now, it's a good time to look. Also, if you are thinking about taking a higher level position in your company or switching companies or something like that, now is a good time for that, again, depending on where you are in the world. So leverage this sort of moment when workers kind of have a bit more edge and advantage, so you can be a bit more discerning in what you want to pursue in terms of your career. So, yeah. Just hang in there. If you're looking for a position or getting, this is your last year of school or something like that, it's actually a good time to think about where you might want to go or what you want to do. All right. Nick says, what is your favorite math subject? I really kind of fell in love with math during algebra. So once I had algebra 1 when I was in eighth grade, and that class was something that really set me off on enjoying math to an extent. I'm not like a math theory person, but just enjoying working problems and stuff like that. Back in the old days, when I was a student, and some of you might remember this if you're around my age, like what we would do oftentimes is we do our homework, but then the next day in school, like depending on how many boards there were in the room, sometimes the rooms I was in school had 3 walls were boards, either whiteboards or some still chalkboard, but mostly whiteboards. And like all of us students would volunteer to work a problem on all 3 of these boards in the classroom. And then after we worked it, we had to explain it back to our teacher, but also our fellow students. So it was this really enjoyable experience for me to either be up at the board working a problem and explaining it to everybody, or sitting in the class looking at all my classmates working problems and then having them explain how they worked it back to me. And of course, our teacher would sort of jump in, for those pedagogical moments. I loved doing that. Loved it. One of my favorite memories of school. I'm not sure if they still do that now, but yeah, I fell in love with algebra and stuff around that time. So, and then I had pre-calc and calc, eventually. So I just really enjoyed that. It's one of my favorite memories of school. But I'm really a science person, honestly. So I really kind of came into education through science. I love science. And of course, mathematics is the language of science. So they kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, that's some of my favorite memories. I actually like sitting and working problems. Does that make me weird? Like, it's not uncommon for me to pick a chapter in a book and just start working some problems. All right. Let's see. Based on what you post at the beginning of your videos and how you speak during the videos, you're the best stat instructor I've ever had. Well, I'm very glad I can just be there to help you. So there are many, many great teachers out there. Whatever I'm able to offer you in the world is just because I've had great teachers my entire life, some really, really amazing teachers, and I stand on their shoulders. And I'm just glad to continue putting it forward. And some of you who come to the channel to learn and stuff like that will go on to maybe teach in some way, whether it's in a university or maybe it's in your own company, you're doing a training, or maybe it's, something else. So you might go on to pass the torch. So I'm just a torch bearer. My teachers pass the torch to me, and hopefully I'll pass it on to other people, including some of you. So thank you. All right. Have you used what you teach here to study stocks and investing? Not beyond some basic things. I've used some finance examples in prior videos looking at distributions of returns and stuff like that. Honestly, when it comes to stocks and investing, I'm much more like a Warren Buffett type person than like a day trader type person. So my investments are basically in index funds, and I just sit there and let them go. So I don't really look into a whole lot of stocks and investing because I just believe I'm not a big risk taker in that regard. So I just kind of put all my investments into stock index funds or mutual funds that are low cost, and let them grow. So, but you can. There are all kinds of things you can do for portfolio analysis. It looks at distributions and stuff like that, where you can use this stuff for finance. But I don't really go a whole lot into that beyond using financial data to teach a statistical topic, if that makes sense. Let's see. Do I prefer traditional supervised models like regression? Well, it just depends. Depends on the nature of the problem, depends on the assumptions you make, depends on the domain area. But it is funny how often when the outcome of some sort of model that you're building is continuous, that just good old-fashioned linear regression will often be the best because it's a bit more, it's more general, of course. Or if it's a binary outcome, then logistic regression is the best model. So, plus they're easy to interpret. So I tend to like having model building techniques that are the simplest, simplest, easiest to interpret, and are less of a black box, if that makes sense, you know. But in the end, you go with the one that reduces prediction error the most. All right. Okay, what do we got here? Jeet, hello. Hello. Good to see you again. Are you planning to do some content about stats in R? Excuse me. Probably not, for two reasons. One, there's already so much content out there about stats in R that I'm not sure my time spent doing it would add a whole lot to that. There are so many resources out there that already exist. What's another one? Two, I don't really come from a programming background per se. So I'd rather spend my time looking at the output and setting up the problem and letting the computer do the work than me typing out lines of code per se. I use R as a tool, like I've said in the past. So it's a tool that I go out in the garage and get off the shelf and use to solve a problem. And then when I'm done solving that problem, I put it back on the shelf. It's not really a way of life for me particularly. So I probably will not do content about R, explicitly about R, but it's common to see R pop up in some of my videos just as a tool, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Plus, I tend to lean towards the Python side sometimes. Anyway, that's a whole nother debate that we've had in the past on this live stream. So, all right, let's see. Do you think usage of traditional supervised models would diminish once explainable AI takes over? Maybe. But there's always going to be a limit to what a computer can do on its own. And just because a model is built doesn't mean it can always be easily explained. So that's going to be part of the human element, the subjective human element of it. But I'm really curious to see where some of this automated stuff goes over time. So which I support, so long as the models are constantly checked and revised. You know, there has to be another step at the end to go back and see, okay, now that we have some new data for this model, how did it do in the past? How can we tweak it and continuously evolving that model? All right. Mayank, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm your new student. Thank you very much for stopping by. I am very lucky to have you. So thank you for stopping by the channel and stopping by the live stream. Jude asked, could you please suggest some stats book to practice what we learned from your channel with Python? There are so many. Oh, there's one I can reach. Hold on. Come here. I have a few. This is one I have on my shelf. So this is the Python for Data Analysis book. As you can see, I use paper towels as bookmarks when I'm doing research and stuff. That's one. There are several. I'm trying to think if I can reach any other ones. I do have some other ones, but I think they might be out of my reach. But there are many resources and tools you can use to study Python and R for that matter in books. Yeah, so Glenn asked, can you talk about the idea of how important it is to understand the why behind stats as compared to the how? Absolutely. So anyone, if you've watched my channel enough and watched this live stream enough, I'm a huge proponent of understanding problem formulation and really asking what is the problem you're trying to answer through the use of data analysis, collecting data, analyzing it, and interpreting it. So really that's the most important thing up front, is understanding the why, sort of the problem you're trying to solve. Then either taking the data that's already there or collecting new data or some mix of the two to begin to answer that question, then implementing the proper analytical techniques to answer your question, and then being able to interpret the results of that analysis and then communicate it to stakeholders. It's a whole pipeline process. The how of doing it is just one small part. And nowadays, it's almost becoming a smaller part because there are so many tools to use to analyze data, whether it's just vanilla Excel or programs like Jump or Minitab or SPSS, something like that, or languages like R and Python. There are so many tools. And then there are visual programming software that makes it even easier. So the how is only a small part of this larger question of the why. And I think we really need to focus on the why. That's why I always encourage my viewers to read widely. So to read, obviously, the news, but also read trade publications, to read domain books and stuff like that, to get a broader context of whatever field you happen to be in, and not always have your nose stuffed in a data table. So that's my 2 cents. All right. Okay. Chandradar. I probably got most of those syllables right. I do apologize. Again, I know many of you are not in the US, so I do my best to pronounce your names correctly, but I do not always get them right. So if I happen to butcher, I do apologize. I do my best. But I think it's important to call people by their names. Hello. Taking a basic stats and data analytics course, but how do I become industry relevant? Need some advice. So to become industry relevant, I think number one is becoming an expert, or, really understanding deeply and widely whatever industry you're in. So if you're in finance, study the domain of finance. If you're in healthcare, study the domain of healthcare. If you're in education, study that. So that's what I'm talking about as before. Read widely, read trade publications, maybe join some professional organizations. So in statistics, now we have the ASA, the American Statistical Association, and there are other ones. You can join one of those. If you're a student, it's usually free or very low cost to join those, and you often get their publications as part of being a member. So you can do that. I highly recommend doing that, especially if you're a student and get the low cost to join in. Obviously, you can join LinkedIn groups that are around that topic. So those are obviously free to join. Some of them are moderated. You can go in and join groups in LinkedIn. I'm no longer on Facebook, but I'm sure there are groups there you can join. Reddit could be a place to just do some, research. Of course, there's a bunch of junk on, any social media. There's going to be some junk on there. But if you curate it and pick wisely, there are a lot of forums online where you can sort of learn those things. As far as being able to demonstrate your skills, I think it's important to actually have artifacts of your work. And you can do that in one of many ways. You can create a portfolio that's in like a PDF or some other umbrella document that you can present to anyone who would want to see it. You could build a basic website if you want to have something on there where you can show some of your work. Nowadays, it's really easy to set up. There's so many providers that make setting up a website very easy, where you can showcase your work. But I think just being involved in the conversation in whatever way you can, and then when you go to apply for a job or work in that industry, then you have the whole context, background knowledge, and you have artifacts to show what you can do. And the last thing is, I would say, is just a network. So if there are individuals in your field, just reach out to them on LinkedIn and say, hey, wondering if we're in similar fields, could we connect? Or you can follow them, obviously on LinkedIn, and be a part of that conversation. Comment and watch what others write about whatever it is you're interested in. So I take a broader view of these things, maybe than most people do, because I'm more of a big thinker, a contextual, large thinker, looking for connections between things. And that's kind of the way I approach it. So that was a very long answer, but it's a very good question, and one that a lot of people answer with, you know? So it's like kind of become this question. When anyone wants to see evidence of my ability to explain things and work in education, I just send them the link to my YouTube channel and go, there it is. There's my evidence. So build up a portfolio of evidence of your knowledge and skills, and then engage in conversations and join other professionals. All right. So follow up on this. I've taken data science and data analytics course from my university, but how do I become industry relevant? Again, that's just kind of what I was saying before, going beyond higher education and becoming professionally involved in all these fronts, becoming part of the conversation in that industry, and just immersing yourself in the web of everything that's going on in that industry. So, all right. All right. So here says, hi boss, hope you're doing well. Cost of Minitab is costly for a person to invest in. Is it possible for you to make videos on use of Excel Data Analytics Tool Pack as an option to Minitab? So a couple of things about this. This is a good question. Yes, some of these software packages do have costs with them. I mean, they're a business. They have expenses they have to cover, so they sell their software. I will say that if you're a student, oftentimes you get access to these for free, depending on where you are, or at a very low cost, depending on where you are. So you can check into student discounts or ways of getting it through your university or through your company. The challenge with Excel is that Excel is not fundamentally a statistical software package. The data analysis tool pack is it literally is an add-in to Excel to extend the functionality somewhat, but it has its limits. It can only do very basic things. It can only accept numbers. So if you have categories in Excel, you have to dummy code them. The output is basic. It doesn't really give you a whole lot of additional output. So in my videos, I have a lot of use of Excel. It's everywhere to the extent I can use it. Now, the Excel, you can get add-ins, professional add-ins that extend Excel. So the one I'm familiar with, the one I use, and the one my company sort of partners with, is called XL Stat. So XL STAT, XL Stat. I've used that in some of my videos, and they can get Excel to do things I didn't think were possible. So if you go to xlstat.com, I guess that's the web address, you can look into getting that Excel add-in that greatly extends the functionality of Excel. And it's just an add-in, and it'll show up in the ribbon, and you can do all kinds of stuff in there. I'm not sure how much it costs, just buying it out of the box, but it's excellent if you want to stay in the Excel environment. You can use an add-in like XL Stat, aside from the built-in data analysis tool pack that is in Excel. All right. Okay, how we doing? 35 minutes. Can you please suggest some channels or books for algebra, calculus to start with for ML? So the most well-known, of course, the most well-known is ISL. This goes back to the R question before as well. So I'm sure most of you in this live stream on my channel know of this book. So I think a new version just came out too, by the way. So if you want to get more into that, it's a little bit, it's more mathy than like most higher education stats books. And of course there is built-in R code, so you can pick up a little bit of R on the way. So this is a more advanced look in to statistics and some of the calculus behind them, partial derivatives, obviously, stuff like that. So you can pick up this. There are Buku's channels where you can learn more about that stuff. Obviously, StatQuest is the big one that's kind of mentioned with my channel. If you really want something fundamental, even something like Khan Academy can be good to go get some basics in terms of algebra, trig, pre-calc, calc, if you want to do that, because Sal is one of my heroes, one of my inspirations, and the way Khan Academy explains these very basic ideas is great. So you can just go back to good old Khan Academy if you want to learn some more about that kind of stuff. And then was it 3 blue, 1 brown? Or is it? I think that's it. Amazing visualizations on that channel. That's why it's so popular. You can check that out. So there are so many books and resources that you can just peruse on your own. But on YouTube, the good thing about YouTube is that you can pick a video and look at the comments or the likes and dislikes and kind of go with the wisdom of the crowd to know if it's a good fit for you. So, all right, we are doing very well. How powerful is Excel? Excel can be very, very powerful, but it has to be extended beyond its base installation. So, for example, the Excel add-in I mentioned before, XLStat, uses all the VBA and all that kind of stuff to do bonkers, crazy cool things with Excel. It's all in Excel. So Excel is very, very powerful if you get into the programmatic side of it. And that's what that add-in does. So it just depends on how you use it and whatever add-ins you have installed on top of it. It can be extremely powerful. And honestly, Excel is great for just cleaning up data, because some of the ways that it does the autofill, and it's gotten so much smarter over its past couple of iterations. Like if you want to split a cell into 2 cells, or do some sort of calculation, or make a new variable in a column based off some other column, you give it enough information and it can predict what you want for everything. Obviously, the use of tables and stuff like that in Excel are great for cleaning up data, in my opinion, because of the way it's laid out and stuff like that. So, yeah, Excel can be very powerful. Excel can be very powerful depending on what you use it for and the add-ins or whatever you might add on, to it. Just stopping by to say thank you. Your videos were extremely helpful. You are very welcome. I'm very happy that you find them helpful. That is why I do them, as I always say. Business analytics, Cengage publication. Does it focus on the why part of analytics? Yes. So, hold on. I'm coming back. Where the hell? Oh, here we go. Sorry about my butt being in your faces. All right, let's go. Move this over here. All right. So, obviously, disclaimers that I work for Cengage. Most of you know that by now. So, I'm not, I'm only holding these up because it was asked. So, this is the one we're talking about here. So, this is one of the books I work on in my day job. So, that's it. And part of it is how to communicate your results to stakeholders and why you might choose one analytical technique over another, So this is the book that I work on. It's by far the market leader. By far the market leader. So this is the 4th edition, but you can probably find like the 3rd maybe floating around out there used or something like that. It's harder to do that nowadays, but yeah, so that one. Another one you might consider is another one that's I work on in my day job. That is the Albright Winston analytics book. This is more advanced, okay? So it is extremely Excel. It's Excel heavy. It is, I'll tell you what it's like. Well, there's a bit more math in it, It's a higher level. You'll often see this used in like master's programs. So it's great. A lot of people have heard of Wayne Winston and Chris Albright, and they're very well known. So this is another one you can maybe check out. I think this is in the 7th. Yeah, this is the 7th edition. You can probably find previous editions. So Albright Winston Business Analytics, and of course the CAM Business Analytics. There's the 2 books that I work on in my day job. You can look at those depending on what level you might be interested in. So I'll hold those back up at the end if anyone is interested. Let's see here. All right. So I don't know. I can't really answer these things for you. Should I leave one and go to another? I can't really speak to that. You have to make that decision yourself. Research the company. Maybe talk to some people, and see what they recommend. If you know some people that know both companies well, I do not. So, all right. 1 second here to take care of some stuff. All right. Have an interview with ANZ. I assume you're talking about the bank. If I get a chance to go start a career, I guess. I don't know a whole lot about ANZ. So that's the Bank of New Zealand. Obviously, I'm not in New Zealand. I'd love to go to New Zealand, but I don't know. All right. Best place to learn AWS, how to write powerful scripts. There are a lot of really good courses about AWS on Udemy. That there are many areas. That's one I can recommend that I've sort of stumbled across. There's some great teachers on Udemy that have courses in things like AWS. That's maybe where I would start. That's where I would maybe start for something like that. All right. All right. Excel is really powerful, but if one's proficient in C or C++, it's too convoluted to use for complex projects. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there are some limitations to the way all the VBA and stuff like that is implemented, and sometimes just straight languages like that are better. So again, on the tool side of this, I've talked about this ad nauseum on my channel and in the streams. The tool you use is only the tool you use that's good for you, and you'll just have to figure out what that is for the particular problem. Obviously programmatic languages are more scalable because you can kind of genericize a lot of things, so it just depends. All right. What kind of work do statisticians do for banks? All kinds of things. Risk management, so building models for loan approval, capitalization projects. So what is the bank's capitalization relative to its outstanding obligations? How much is it leveraged? On the marketing side of things, obtaining new customers. What are some models that can help gain new customers? So there's all kinds of projects that can work, that go on in banks. So create videos about factor analysis, PCA cluster analysis, and other multivariate methods. That is on my list. So one of my favorite books over there, the Tabachnik book on multivariate methods, has a lot of content in there I like to make videos on, including the ones you listed. Again, just a matter of time. But yes, I do see myself making those videos at some point. When it's hard to really know, unfortunately. All right. So Business Analytics by Cam, the International Edition on eBay. Yeah, the 4th is the current edition, so that's probably going to be the most expensive if you find it somewhere. So might try a prior edition. If you just want to get it to have as a reference, kind of having the prior edition is probably fine. Probably fine too. All right. Gonna do two staffs, data science, deployment AWS, or full stack, which pays a lot. I'm not sure of the question there, unfortunately. All right. Many people make New Year's resolution. What is yours achieved Is yours achieved already? Yes. Yes. So, not to go down too far of a rabbit hole, um, a lot of horrible things have happened during COVID, obviously. Millions of lives have been lost during COVID. For some individuals, however, it was a godsend. And individually speaking, for me, the period of COVID has been actually a good thing. So I've reevaluated many things in my life. I have gotten mentally and spiritually healthier. One of the things was deleting all my social media besides LinkedIn and YouTube. So no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, no nothing. It's all gone. One of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life was to get rid of all social media and just focus on YouTube and LinkedIn. So that has helped my mental state a whole lot. It's freed up a whole lot of time instead of doom scrolling on my phone. So that was one resolution. It was to stick to that decision, and I have. Also during COVID, I've lost over 70 pounds because I'm able to control my diet, get exercise, get some good sleep, and stuff like that. So I've made several resolutions, you know, and I've been able to stick to all of them, for the most part. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with everything. And of course, I mean, that's one silver lining in a very, very dark storm. So I'm not minimizing all the pain that's happened during COVID, but for me, it's actually been a good thing in some ways. All right. How does one break into types of banking roles you described? Would actuarial background be an asset? Absolutely, it could be an asset. So risk, a huge part of any financial institution is risk modeling and working with probabilities and things like that. So absolutely, that can be a great inroad into banking. Let's see. Is learning operational research helpful for statisticians? Yes, it can be if that's what you want to go into. So, somewhere, do I have it? I do have a book I want to show you if I can find it. Where is it? Not sure where it's at. There's a very good OR book that I could recommend. But yes, so anything in the decision sciences kind of goes hand in hand. So if you're going to go into the OR sort of route, absolutely, that's a great place to go. It's actually a growing sort of field. So if OR is something you're interested in, go for it and use the stat knowledge to inform learning more about OR. All right. Okay, a few more minutes. Congrats. Yes, thank you very much. It's been a long road to try to get back to, mental, psychological, and spiritual and physical health. And, I just turned 45 years old. I'm probably in the best shape of my life overall in terms of physically and just psychologically and stuff like that. The decisions I've made over the past 18 months or so have been very good and been very healthy for me. So, it's hard because you see so much suffering around you, yet you're in this weird situation where this horrible event for you personally has actually been a good thing. And I'm not the only one. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with and family members and stuff like that have used this COVID period to really reevaluate and reassess what is important to them in their life, to reprioritize what is important to them in their life, to try to find a sense of balance in the crazy economic and political, and in this sense, pandemic sort of situation we find ourselves in. So for some people, it's actually been good. And I completely understand and 100% agree and understand that I get to do that from a position of privilege, So it's easier for me to do that. I have so many privileges that had been given to me, and very fortunate to have a great family and other things that I didn't really have any part in that allowed me to do that. So, yeah, it's tough, but I do realize that in some aspects for some people, this time has been good for them. Right. So thanks for sharing that example of how to find a positive view in the mess of COVID. Yeah. That's part of the great resignation that we're all seeing in jobs. People are just reevaluating and reassessing, how they want to engage with their work life and balance their personal life and make choices. The fragility of life is so poignant in times like this. You realize just how fragile the experience of life is during times like this. So you just want to make the decisions and make different decisions to have a happy, successful life as possible. Because for me, I believe that this is the only life I get. Once the lights go out, so to say, for me. So I'm trying to make the best of my time on this planet. And the COVID period has actually put that into even more perspective. All right. Thanks again. Have a good weekend. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. So I'm going to wrap this up here in a couple of minutes. So if you have any last minute questions or comments, now's the time to throw them in the channel, because I am going to sign off here and get on with my day, and you can get on with your day. While I'm waiting for any last minute things in there, just to reiterate, when I do the event or live stream for marking the milestone of the channel of 250,000 viewers, I do hope to have some of you on, if you're comfortable sharing a success that you might have had over the past, little bit of time, and really make the channel a celebration of you, not about me. So if that's something you might be interested in doing, contact me on LinkedIn. Has to be through LinkedIn, because I need to be able to verify who people are, and let me know, hey, it's something you might like to do whenever I do that in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So, all right, good question. I'm thinking to get rid of my social media as well, but I hesitate to do it because I might lose contact to some people. How did you deal with this aspect? Well, what I kind of realized is that the people that I would keep in contact with anyway are people that were on my Facebook, but I was already keeping up with them in other ways, so nothing was really lost. The only thing I really lost in that were individuals that are friends, but it's, people move on with their lives, and people go to different places, and people have families and children, and they get busy and stuff like that. So between just naturally keeping track of people that I've, just texting on my phone or whatever else it might be, or actually through LinkedIn. So I have, friends on LinkedIn that I went to high school with or college with or whatever else that will occasionally reach out to me, and we'll do a Google Meet or a Zoom or something like that. And once COVID gets a little bit further behind us, then I can go meet my friends, out in the physical world. So, my group of family and friends is pretty small and tight. Sorry about that. So I keep up with those people anyway. And most of my friends are actually at work. So when I go to work every day, that's most of my friends too. So I see them, either in the office when we were there, or virtually now, or sometimes now we'll meet outside of Zoom, and go grab a bite to eat, go grab a beer, whatever else it might be. So I tend to find for me, Facebook can be sort of an artificial inflation of the number of people that I really needed to keep close contact with all the time. Plus, when you factor in all the arguing and trolling and stuff that goes on, it just wasn't worth it. It's not worth it for me. And Facebook has business practices I don't agree with really, at times. So it was a way to naturally cull the number of people that I was. And just because I lost contact or lose close contact with individuals who are not on Facebook does not mean I care about them any less. There are still ways to get in touch outside of it. So, the vast majority of my life was before Facebook was ever invented, and it was fine. So it's fine without it too, All right. George, Hello, hello, my friend. Thanks for doing Saturdays. Love them. You are very welcome. I love doing them for you. And Glenn says, personally drop my Facebook, just my immediate family. You have 5,042. I have much more time. Absolutely. Absolutely. And my mental, at least my mental and psychological well-being vastly improved. A lot of research, a lot of Facebook's own internal research, as we saw in the past week or two, just points to how harmful it can be for people, especially for young women on Instagram. So for me, it was just a decision I made to get off all social media and just focus on YouTube and LinkedIn, which are related to my work. And then instead of doom scrolling on my phone or being on Facebook on my browser, go out and take a walk. Fire up an audiobook. Sit out on my deck. Enjoy a nice cold beer with my audiobook and enjoy the beautiful trees outside. And it freed up so much more time to do things I really, really enjoy without getting into fights or without I never really engaged in that kind of stuff necessarily, but just like seeing all the arguing and bickering and all this kind of crap that was on there, just no thank you. It's horrible. So I just found I'm much more peaceful. My pulse is like 60 beats a minute. I get good exercise. I exercise like 5-6 days a week now. And it just really, really, really helped me kind of get back to myself. That's why I got off all social media. It's been a blessing. So, all right. But you are great, sir. Respect from India. Hello. Namaste. I'm so supportive, obviously, of all the great viewers I have in India. Me and the channel would not be what it is without all the amazing learners in India. And I'm so grateful for your support. I'm glad I can help you out along your educational and career journeys. And I'm really working hard to make it to India in the next few years. So, I'm really, really wanting to go. I don't know which places I would really go to necessarily. I don't really travel overseas really at all. So I'm kind of a newbie in a new land if I do go to India. So I'd probably want to go to a city that is more amenable to a first-time visitor to India from the United States. So if anybody has a suggestion on the city I should go to as a first-timer to India, please let me know. And I can start planning maybe where I want to go. So if I do go to India someday, trust me, I will let everyone know because I will need all the support to maybe navigate and get around there that I can. All right. So many stats books not work well on audio. Are you aware of that? Any that do? A pure stats book is not going to go well on audio. Some things that do go well, though, like I would not want to listen to some of these books like this on audio. There's no way, right? However, there are some great podcasts you can find that have to do with data analytics and business cases and stuff like that. It's not a textbook, but it's in the domain. There are probably some great courses, which is now Wondrium, but formerly the Great Courses has courses where each lecture is like 30 minutes, and you can follow along with the topics as well. You can try something like that, or just an audiobook on the domain that you're working in. So again, if you are working in finance, you could. If you're working in finance and you want to like be able to listen to audiobooks while you exercise or walk or sit out and just relax, you can get the audiobooks for domain things. So you can get the audiobook for like Too Big to Fail. You can get the audiobook for After the Music Stopped, and listen to audiobooks in the field that you are working in. It's not necessarily a textbook about stats or analysis, stuff like that, but domain knowledge is another thing you can do. I'm gonna have a stack of books this high if I'm not careful. All right. Namaste. Back at you. Your channel is a forerunner for all those stat channels nowadays. Hey, the more the merrier. So the more learning there is out there for people, I'm all for it. Even if it takes a little bit of traffic away from my channel, fine. That's fine. I do it because for the love of it. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the glory. So if other individuals are inspired to make channels because of my channel, then that is glorious. That is perfect. All right. Your 7 to 8 year old videos still help us to excel in math. 7-year-old thumbnails do look like the level of content produced in 2021. Attention to detail, respect, and love to you. Yes. Thank you very much. It took a while for people to realize that my thumbnail is actually a Fibonacci sequence. It was actually really funny. Someone finally picked up on it, but it's really cool. So, all right. Well, my friends, we are over an hour, and I do want to give you back your day because I know you all have things to do and people to see and spend with loved ones or spend some time alone and just enjoy your day, do some work, whatever it is. So I have many projects lined up outside. I had my deck in the backyard replaced because it was 35 years old and falling apart. So I have a nice, beautiful new deck to sit out there, and I might stream from out there once everything's put back together. And here in the U.S., it's American football days or today and tomorrow, which I like to watch. So I'll be doing some of that and just having a relaxing weekend. The weather is gorgeous. Open the windows and enjoy. So Glenn asked, can I sing any of Josh Starmer's songs for us? Just kidding. Yeah, it's funny. It's I can actually sing like relatively well. Like I actually was a music major. It's funny that Josh sings his songs and stuff like that, and he's into music. I was originally like a music major and musician. I was in drum and bugle corps. And, so I have some musical training and, I can match pitch and stuff and harmonize. So I technically could probably do some singing, but for me, doing something like that, it's great for Josh. Don't get me wrong. It's obviously why part of the reason he's so successful is that. But for me, I'm not good at doing stuff like that because it comes off as inauthentic and gimmicky for me to do it. So I don't do stuff like that. I try to be to the point, and get through it and, and just focus. So I could do stuff like that, but I will spare you my musical my musical stuff. But yes, I could sing for you. All right. Thanks for your time today. Thank you, Glenn. I'll look at your thing you sent me. Love you, Babu. All right. Great video. Enjoy your weekend. Starting up today. Excellent. So happy for you. Have a good day. Started watching your videos. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. You too. Yes, music major. Wow. Yeah, so I was a music major, but then realized that my passion really is, teaching science and mathematics. I switched over to that, and the rest is history. So here we all are. It's fun life. If you stay true to what you love to do, what you're good at, and if you really, really hold true to that inside you, what I have sort of realized is that through your own choices and making some luck along the way, there's something inside of each person that sticks to that guides them in the right direction. It's not necessarily always a conscious choice, but if you follow that path that's sort of in you, it tends to things tend to happen in your life that leads you forward. It's like a pull of gravity. It just pulls you along in the direction you need to go if you stay true to what you enjoy doing and what you love doing. And for me, that's sort of been the guiding light for me. So, all right. Good day. Doofy Duck, thank you. I will also be playing some New World today. So, yeah, if you like games, playing some New World. I've been playing that the past since it got released, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot. Well, parts of it I enjoy. Some of it's a grind, but all MMO games are a grind. So I might play some New World at some point today. All right. Thank you. You're a godsend. I appreciate that. But people like you and learners like you are the biggest gift I could ever ask for. So that's what it means to me. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna relax, enjoy some football, play some New World MMO today, and kind of get my deck put back together and enjoy the weather. So here it's going to be really cold here in a couple months. So I'm trying to get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather while it lasts. October is my favorite month. October is my favorite color, and I just enjoy going out in nature, as you can see by my pictures on LinkedIn. So anyway, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. But it was so good seeing all of you here on STATURDAY Chat Live. I will be live again in 2 weeks. So whatever 2 weeks is from today, we will do this all again. And I'm going to work on putting together that special stream or special event for the milestone of the channel. So thank you all so much for spending your valuable time with me. I hope you have a wonderful, excellent, and joyous rest of your Saturday. And I will see you on YouTube, LinkedIn, and here live again in 2 weeks. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.